process. Is that you guys, John? I'm
Correct.
Walter, by the way.
Correct. Yeah. We'll be monitoring them throughout this process.
And then at what point is the handoff to us to deal with them directly?
That usually doesn't happen until after the 1 year warranty period.
Okay.
So I mean, we'll go through all of it, but yeah, we'll touch base on that. And I will say sorry in advance if you guys hear any beeping or anything. I have some construction going on right outside my window, unfortunately. So.
All right, and we are live on YouTube. So Walter, take it away.
Okay, I call the select board to order at 10:01, and so one agenda meeting. It's a review of the. It's a kickoff for the installation of streetlights, and I think I don't need to go through the rest of the normal formulaic process unless I'm missing something in terms of my instructions. So
you might mention, Walter, that I'm on, even though I come under code enforcement by the Zoom.
The entire board is present, and Jan is not on video. He is in the code enforcement officer's office, so he's only on audio. And John Spear is with us, and John and Andrew, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Yeah. Thank you for that, Walter. So my name is John Tercio. I am the field installation supervisor for Realterm. So I'll be working closely with Hedstrom throughout this process of the installs until it's done, to make sure that everything's done correctly and done properly. And I'll outline a little bit more of my responsibilities as we go through this meeting, but pass it off to you, Andrew.
Yes, my name is Andrew Perotti. I'm the field installation coordinator at Realterm Energy. I'll be as well following up closely with Hedstrom throughout the installation process and monitoring everything closely, helping John out, assisting with whatever we need on a daily basis. And as well, my roles and responsibilities may be further outlined the rest of this meeting.
Yeah, and we're also joined by Nadira, if you want to just introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nadira. I'm the project lead for this Streetlight conversion project. So anything related to budget or tracking the progress of the project, billing changes or anything, you can always reach out to me. I'll be the main point of contact.
Okay, guys. So if you guys don't mind, I'll get us started. Basically, is there any way I'll be able to share my screen or no?
Yes, you can. Give me just a second to allow.
Yeah, you can give him permission to share his screen, Owen. Anybody buy Zoom stock when it was 156?
John, can you,
It opened at 456 today.
To share your screen?
Wow.
There you go.
Yes, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, guys, and don't worry about taking any notes or anything. This will all be sent out at the end. So as you can tell, this is a South Thomaston streetlight conversion project. We're holding this meeting over Zoom. These are all the attendees that are in the meeting at the moment.
Yeah, John, I don't know how important it is, but my email's wrong on there. Jan, Jan instead of JA.
Oh, thank you. That's just a typo on my part.
Yep.
Here's the contact information for myself, for Nadira, Owen, and for Hedstrom. The main point of contact will be Mike. And then moving down, so the scope of work, this is 50 Cobra heads and one flood/area light. This is a smart controller project. Smart controller manufacturer is Ubiquia. And then at the end of this project, we'll do a training session with them about an hour long. They'll walk you through the map, all the different functionalities, everything that you'll need to manage it on your own, and they'll be available to assist as well. So project duration, I left this blank because I was waiting for, hopefully for Hedstrom to be on the line, but a project of this size, honestly, guys, will only take 2 days, maybe 3 if there's an issue with weather, but they'll do 25 to 30 in a day, and before you know this, they'll be done. So very, very short. The one thing we'll touch on after this, and then I'll get you guys in an email, is a concrete start date. We'll have to talk to Hedstrom because they're still doing some of the other projects in the Camden area, but due to the size of this project, it doesn't make sense to wait for Rockland to be wrapped up. That's 690 streetlights. It doesn't make sense for you guys to have to wait for that to wrap up. So we'll get you guys squeezed in. I'll just need to talk to them and get you guys an actual date. So stay tuned for that, please. Expected hours of work. Usually it's about 7 to 4 p.m. About an hour to get prepped, get set up, get the truck loaded, an hour to break down at the end of the day. No weekend works needed for this project, and no night work or anything like that. Any questions so far, guys?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes.
And maybe you're going to cover this later, but is Hedstrom working for you in the installation project?
Can you say that one more time?
Is Hedstrom working for you? Are you?
Yes.
you're-
They're a subcontractor. Yes.
Okay, and they're working for you, not directly for us, and you're not just facilitating their work?
Correct.
Okay.
All right. So next up is the GIS mapping tool.
Sorry, I have my hand up and I don't know who's monitoring. Two things. Would you, just to clarify, in case John wasn't on when I asked the question earlier, at some point there will be a handoff of Hedstrom's the responsibility to manage Hedstrom from you guys to us. And I think, John, what you said is that that's after the 1-year warranty period. And then
Correct. So on the last light that's installed, that's when the 1-year workmanship warranty start date will be, and that will last a year. So during that time, any outages, any issues you might have, you'd come to us with it, and I'll outline that a little bit lower, and we'll deploy Hedstrom to troubleshoot, make the repairs, whatever it is. And then after that year point, it will be up to the town of South Thomaston to coordinate with Hedstrom or an EC of their choice to work on the streetlights.
I have one other question, and how many did you do in Thomaston?
Thomaston was 200 and turned out to be 201.
Any failures yet?
Not that I'm aware of. Nothing that's been reported. There was a couple smart controllers that we had to go back and replace that weren't communicating the way they should have been. But besides that, there's been no reported streetlight outages at this moment.
Okay. All right. I won't bother you until you're finished now. Sorry.
No, please, guys. Any questions you have, please just ask away. So I'm going to show you guys the maps. So this is a map you guys will be provided with. It loads, and it'll show all the streetlights in the town of South Thomaston that are going to be converted. What I recommend, and the first thing I always do is I click on base maps and I go to streets. Makes it so much easier to kind of see what you're looking at. So you'll see over here we have the legend, and you'll see on these icons, C1, that's going to be a certain wattage LED fixture. All the C1s are going to be the same, and so on down the list, C2, C3, C4, and then we have one floodlight. So when you click on a location, you'll get all this information. You'll get the wattage, the street name, the RT ID, the utility pole ID if we have it, and then you'll be able to see all this other information that the Hedstrom will be filling out. Status, pending, they'll change that to installed when they make the installation. They'll put the smart node ID right here, and then any extra work, if they replace a wire, all of that will be tracked in here. So it's very, very useful for you guys to follow along to see how everything is going. Pretty simple. While I have the map up, so for the outage process, just since I have the map, what you would do is you'd come onto this map and you'd find the RT ID, which is right here, and you'd send that in an email to us at service@realtermenergy.com, and you would just tell us the description of the problem, and then we would create a case and have that resolved. So pretty simple. If you wanted to find a specific RT ID, you can just type in the number and it'll take you right to it.
John, what about the ones that I see that are no replacement? Is there an explanation why, or?
Oh yeah, so for whatever reason, I don't have GIS in the line, but in CMP's inventory, these are either considered private, whatever the case may be. These are not owned by the town of South Thomaston.
Okay, but they are existing lights.
Exactly. Yeah. So we put them on the map just in case there's so there's no confusion. So they see it and they don't think it's a mislight or anything, but so they know not to touch these ones.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And then one thing, if you guys wanted to, filter data after the installs, if you want to see how many rewires were done, whatever it may be, if you wanted to do that, you can click on About, click on More Details. This will take just a little bit. You go to the layers, you go to South Thomaston installations, and then you can export the data to Excel, and then you can filter it and go through it however you want to see all the different information. So I can send instructions for that as well, just so you guys have it. But that's a easy way if you guys want to take like a deep dive into everything. So, do you guys have any questions on the map?
I do. I didn't see it. You were doing it real quickly. Is the CMP poll numbers on the data?
Yes, in locations like if you see right here, utility pole ID 191.
Okay. I just didn't see it because you did it quickly. So, okay, thanks.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah, as long as we have the pole IDs, they'll be on the map. Sometimes there might not be a tag in the field or CMP's data might be off, but if we have the information, it'll be in the map.
John,
Yes.
after the warranty and after the handoff to Headstrom, will you guys still track failures and incidents?
At that point, no. I mean, we're always available to help and any questions you guys have. But after that 1 year warranty period ends, then it's up to the town of South Thomaston to work on those outages.
And Headstrom or our contractor would be the person that puts the data into this system at that point?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So that they can update it. Like, for example, if you need to replace a smart node, it's nice to have the newest ID here. So, they'd go and they'd, update the smart node ID. So you'd have the newest data.
So you have that, you will have that data.
Correct. Yes. And I won't go through the Ubiquia smart controller panel right now. We'll set that up with the project manager, which will be Noah for Ubiquia, and we'll have that training. We can have that whenever you want. Preferably, we like to have it after some installations have taken place, so you guys have something to base it off of. But once we get going, we can get that set up right away, and it's super user friendly. Set aside an hour, but it shouldn't even take that long. But
Thanks.
no problem.
One other question. So do you have a boilerplate contract for after the warranty period for between the town and Headstrom or whoever we contract with?
We do not. We do have a maintenance service that we offer, but that's something I would direct you to talk to someone else about that knows a little bit more about it. But
okay. So we would have to create that agreement contract with whoever the contractor is ourselves.
Correct. Yeah, and you could base it off of the workmanship terms and conditions that we have in place now, and the rates and everything, which you guys should have, and if not, I'll send along. But kind of basically breaks down, their labor prices for the work and everything, and you just base it off of that.
And this is Owen. So each town in this kind of Camden et al. Surrounding community towns, each town can do it however they choose to. They could have gone maintenance agreement with Real Term. They can hire any sort of contractor they want to do work on any failures or replacements. Those towns did negotiate and work with Headstrom to kind of generally sketch out what an agreement would be for Headstrom to maintain each town's stock. And so we are not tied to Headstrom, but the proximity of their location to be able to respond to any failures or outages, and the fact that we are kind of collectively, it's again, buying in bulk of sorts. So Headstrom is offering some good favorable rates. We'll have all of that information for the board to consider when we get to that maintenance portion, but you do have options. It's just Headstrom has been the kind of standout that we've all been looking at for all those reasons I mentioned.
So has the cost of the contract been factored into the savings?
Not on real terms end, no. And the question is, when does maintenance start? Is always the question. We've got that 1 year installer's warranty. Then we've got a range of different factory warranties on the devices themselves. We'll end up getting the insurance through MMA as long as the board wants to do that. So then over time, we build up a reserve account, we build up an account for some of these unforeseen things, but the ongoing maintenance of these beyond the warranties were not factored in. I mean, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but they weren't factored into real terms calculations on cost savings.
No, they were not.
And don't leap ahead. Don't assume that there's a reserve account. The fact is that at some point, we're going to be paying out of pocket for at least the labor associated with a part replacement, and that is not in the cost savings.
And John, I got a question.
That's not in the 5-year payback. Let's put it that way.
John, I have a question on the map that you're showing right now, number 24. It looks like it's our town landing, and you're showing no light there, no replacement. 22.
22.
Yeah.
There's actually is there multiple lights on that? Because
there are.
If you look right here,
I had made a note of that as well, Jan. I was gonna talk with them about that. I didn't know if we could see the whole of it. Yes, there's multiple lights there. That probably no replace. That was one of the pole areas that CMP indicated there were 3 lights when there were not. That's where some of this and a couple other locations is where CMP did remove our purchase amount based on that.
Yeah, well, about 2 years ago, we purchased a new light for there. Those lights are pretty critical at the town landing. So
yeah,
I just want to be sure that any existing light that's there is replaced.
Yeah, you see if I zoom up now, you can see that 22 is a flood that's going to be replaced, and 23 is a Cobra head that's going to be replaced.
Okay.
So yeah, it was just when you zoomed out, it kind of all went together. But yeah, so we'll replace 2 lights at that location.
Okay.
Since we're talking about specific lights, could you drop down to the very bottom of the screen? It's on the road to. Okay, right there. It's just left of 14. I can't read the number. No.
There's 14.
Yeah.
There's 14.
And the one behind it, have those been confirmed that they're in South Thomaston? Because one side of the street there is St. George and the other side is South Thomaston.
My understanding, anything that's on this map has been confirmed that it's in South Thomaston.
Okay, well, maybe I'll go take a look.
John, aren't you talking about actually the ones like on 55, 56, the ones on Patton Point?
Yeah, those look like they're not in South Thomaston either, but I was, yeah.
So when I reviewed this, I had the county EMA plot everything out as per the grids that CMP gave us. There was one that was down in that Patton Point area that was close to the line. All the other ones that were on 73, we did confirm that they were. I'm happy to be corrected on any of that.
I'll take a look at all of them. I'm pretty sure I know where the lines are there. But I'm skeptical that a few of those aren't in St. George. But
Yeah,
okay,
particularly the two Patton Point ones, because the line is actually the village road
right,
where you see
Exactly.
those four lights. So Patton
Yeah.
Point, I don't think there's anything on Patton Point that's in South Thomaston. But I could be wrong too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to take a deeper look at that.
yeah, okay,
At the moment,
thanks.
yeah, I mean, obviously at the moment, CMP is saying that South Thomaston
Yeah, but
owns these lights and you guys are paying for them. So if you guys can,
Well, we
clear
may have
that-
been paying for them for a number of years. Doesn't
you
mean
know-
they're ours.
you know CMP, their dad is.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you want to take a look and we can, if it turns out to be the case where you guys don't own them, we can change it to no replacement, and then you would just keep those lights that we already ordered as spares, So just let me know about that.
And
Okay.
and board, just so you know, once I get this from Real Term, I'll proof it against what I have from CMP and also what was done from the county, and I'll work with John and the other folks at Real Term if there's any sort of, I've been taking notes on, so like I took a note on the town landing when it appeared as though there was no replacement there. So I'm taking notes on any of these confusing items. I'll continue to work on that.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen this map, so that's why we're kind of nitpicking the individual
Yeah,
lights. But
Not a problem. And like I said, I'll share this right after this call with the username and password, and you guys can dig even further. So the next thing would be the dashboard. It's very similar to the map, except it makes it a little easier to see the numbers and what's been installed and what's still pending. So again, I always change this to streets. It's just easier for me. And then obviously as installs happen, there'll be another column that will appear that say installed. You'll see the pending. On this tab, you can see the allowances. 51 smart controllers. We're replacing all the fuse and fuse holders. There's an allowance for 27 rewires. So, and that's a do not exceed. So Hedstrom has to stick within that 27. And if for some reason the wiring is in such bad condition, we'd have to, talk to South Thomaston and see if we can do a change order or something. But I don't see that being the case. So this is just.
What was the unpleasant surprise that you guys in Bar Harbor got with regards to the internal wiring or grounding?
It was the grounding. Hedstrom was finding that most of the locations in that territory and in the Bar Harbor area were not grounded to Amir's own standards. So we had to do a change order to make sure that we brought everything up to standard.
And was that covered in our audit? Did you know?
Yes, it did.
You know what
Yes.
we're walking? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And CMP's territory, the amount of fixtures that are grounded or the amount of brackets that are grounded is very high. I've been doing a lot of audits recently, and I'm finding that 95 to 98% of all their brackets are grounded. So it's a different different distribution system in CMP than Amira, but we don't anticipate any surprises or anything.
Thanks.
No problem. So yeah, I mean, it's very similar to the map, but like I said, just allows you to see the allowances right here without having to filter any data or do any spreadsheets. So if you guys don't have any questions on this, I'll move down to the next item on the checklist. So materials to be installed at each location obviously will be an LED fixture, a fuse, and a fuse holder. I don't know why this is not in this section, but and then at other locations, as deemed fit by Hedstrom, if the wiring's in bad condition, if a new arm's needed, whatever it may be, if it's needed, they'll install. But the main ones, obviously, the LED fixture, the fuse, and the fuse holder are going to be installed at every location. So expected conditions and reportable items. So they will expect to find a pole, an arm, and a fixture at that location, access to the fixture, and power at the demarcation point. There are some times, for whatever reason, that there's no power at that pole. Maybe CMP took down their secondary. whatever it is. So the installer will install the fixture, and then they'll make a note on the map. They'll put installed with issue, and they'll mark it as no power. Same thing if there's no access, they'll mark that on the map so we can see those locations and we can talk about it at the end of the project. How to address it. Maybe it's a fence with a property owner or something that we need to get access to that you guys can assist us with. And so all that will be marked on the map if needed. Tree trimming required, that might be something we need your assistance if your DPW could go out there and clear access to it, but we'll work on all that stuff together if it comes up. So roles and responsibilities. So this will all be sent to you guys, but basically, they're going to verify the inventory, which they've already done. They sign off on it, make sure that we have the correct fixtures and the correct amount and they're in good condition. Install a material per the manufacturer's instructions, which is important because if they didn't, obviously it would void the warranty on the fixtures or the smart controllers. So that's extremely important. They follow the map exactly. They install the correct wattage at the correct locations. Communicate any issues with us, update the map in real time. They'll be doing the 1-year workmanship warranty post-install. They'll take pictures of any locations that they can install. That way we can see it without having to necessarily go out into the field and verify. They'll recycle the waste material post-install, and they'll provide a recycling certificate because the bulbs are universal waste. So that way you guys have that for your records. And they will also fill out a PRC form, a product return to client form, after the project ends. If there's any leftover material, if a light couldn't be installed for whatever reason, they'll complete that form. They'll have someone from the town, if they leave it at the DPW, wherever they leave it, sign off that they've received it, and we make sure that the material that belongs to you gets returned to you. So basically my responsibility is I'll be just monitoring and anything with the installations I'll be dealing with and tracking. I'm based in Portland, Maine, so I'll be coming up there for QC, a visual QC, just checking what I can from the ground, making sure that correct fixtures installed at the correct location, that they installed the fuse holder properly, the arms secured, the fixtures secured. If they said they did rewiring, make sure that they in fact did rewiring and that it's new and that they're not just marking down things that aren't done. So I'll be checking all of that. And then as Nadir said, she'll be handling all change orders, monitoring and controlling the project budget, and she'll be dealing with the incentive, billing rate, change items as well. So for right now, anything that has to do with the installations, please reach out to me. And if it's anything monetary or that involves the budget, please continue to address those matters to Nadira, whose contact information is above on this checklist. So data deficiency, Andrew, I don't know if you want to just touch on this one.
Yeah, sure. So for this, we have it's just to locate any sort of discrepancies that Hedstrom may create on their installation report. So as John showed you guys earlier, you can export the Excel. So we compile all that information and look for any missing install dates, operator names, install comments, anything that is necessary to understand what issues they may have and for tracking of the installation of the actual lights. So we have a guide that we're going to provide to Hedstrom. It's there's a guide to export on Excel and a guide to also filter with the map viewer, and it'll help Hedstrom pretty much figure out any of the issues they have on a daily basis, which they should be checking at the end of the day. And it'll basically reduce any sort of issues at the end of the project that will cause problems for the town specifically. But that's basically it.
Yeah, and it might not seem much not having the the install date, for example, but we don't have any install dates. When do we know when the workmanship warranty starts and ends and all that? So any fields that are needed, we have the process, like Andrew was saying, to make sure it's done. If they mark down a location no access and they don't leave a comment, that doesn't really do us any good. So that's something that we check daily as well. But we really put the onus on the electrical contractor to make sure that they're following these steps and filling out the map correctly. So for quality control, as I said, I'll do a QC. I'll pick 10 locations, 10 to 15 locations. I'll just go and verify what I can visually from the ground and provide you guys with a report, of the map that I use and my comments and pictures and all of that for you guys. Because this project doesn't call for a third-party QC. Camden, Rockport, and Rockland all are getting third-party QCs. So basically, and the Camden and Rockport have come back good. So you're pretty much assured that you'll get the same quality, but we'll still check visually to make sure that that's the case. So contracts in place. The acquisition has been completed. We have our contract between ourselves and you, and our contract between ourselves and the EC. And then the notice to proceed. Andrew, I don't know if you want to just touch on what this document is and what we're looking for here.
Sure. So the notice to proceed is just a list of documents that we require from Hedstrom or any electrical contractor for them to get their licensing in order, their insurance, any sort of deliveries that they receive, they need to sign off and count to ensure that actually have material on hand. So if anything goes missing, they assume responsibility in the future. Their workmanship warranty documents, I believe there's a whole list of documents that they just need to provide to us before we put the signature on our end, and then we give to them to have a signature, and everything is good to go for them to proceed. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, John.
No, basically, yeah. I mean, we put this here just so you guys know that we have this document, that we have these items that we need from them before any work can start, and we take it very seriously, obviously, that all these items are in place before any installs can begin. So we're actually in the process of working with Hedstrom right now Andrew is to secure all these documents. We have some of them, but we're still a couple pending. So we hope to have that done shortly.
Is the town named as an additional insured?
No, not that I know of now.
Okay.
It's just property. I forget what else. Commercial insurance.
Yeah, automotive, and then they have like an umbrella insurance to cover any sort of remaining.
Yeah. Actually, utility standards. This kind of goes back to what Walter, you were bringing up about Bar Harbor. Obviously, CMP has their ground in the bracket arms is a standard of theirs, as is the clearance between the power supply space and the communication space. None of that should be an issue really with the streetlights, and nothing that really needs to be talked about, but the electrical contractor is aware of CMP standards, and that if they do encounter anything that needs to be addressed, they bring it to our attention. Storage of lights. I don't believe we have Hedstrom on the line, but with the amount of lights and everything, they're not going to need a trailer or anything. The lights are going to be stored at their shop. And I'll fill in their address just so we have it here. If for whatever reason you guys wanted to see the lights, we can arrange that, for you guys to drive by their shop and see it. Recycling. This is another item that we can have Hedstrom clarify on, but basically, they need to dispose of the cardboard, the old light fixtures, and the old light bulbs. I don't think they're going to need a dumpster again for the size of this. They usually break down the cardboard boxes ahead of time, and they load up all the lights into different containers labeled with what wattage they are. So I don't think anything to worry about there. And the old light bulbs, they recycle, and I believe it's either in Rockport or Rockland. They have a station there that they use, and they'll get us the recycling certificate that we'll share with you guys. Intermediate report. On a project this size, this is not going to come into play, but usually every 2 weeks we do a detailed report, kind of breaking down the progress, anything that might have come up, updated timelines for when the project will be complete. If a QC's been done, we touch on that, but This project, like I said, will be done in 2 to 3 days, so we're not gonna need that in this project.
Can I back up to the recycling just real quickly?
Yes, sir.
So is the disposal cost already baked into the contract with Hedstrom?
Correct. Yeah, they're responsible for all recycling. So
Right, I know they're responsible for it, but is the disposal fees, is that a reimbursable or is it already baked into the contract?
they're responsible for all the fees or whatever.
Okay,
For the
My understanding, not to cut in, but when Mr. Carter came up and presented to the board, I believe what he said was it's basically a net zero because they do some level of source separation of items and they'll recycle them. So the disposal cost is basically nilled out, if I recall correctly, and Walter and Jam were there as well.
Have we got Hedstrom yet on the line? Because it's after 10:30.
I don't think so.
They're not trying to get in or anything.
No. So yeah, I spoke to Owen before this. So if there's any questions or anything that are specifically that you guys want to answer by them, we'll just, we can have them respond via email and, distribute it to everyone on this call. So we can get up to date there. But yeah, I don't think they're on the call right now, unfortunately. So commissioning information, basically we consider a light, installed when they install it, they put the smart controller on it, and then they either do called a glove test where they just cover up the smart controller, and that will facilitate the light turning on. So once that happens, they mark the light green on the map. We consider that, installed and commissioned. Smart controllers will have the training, towards the end of the project, as we discussed. And it's really cool what you guys can do with these smart controllers and how you can group them and put them in different zones and everything. So that's really that's something to look forward to. Outage process, I touched on this when we were talking about the map. Find us the RTID, give us a street address and a description of the issue, and then we'll work with Hedstrom to get that resolved. And the workmanship warranty, it covers defects in the workmanship of the installation of a fixture and begins once the light is installed, but doesn't cover things such as no power at demarcation point, if there's faulty secondary wiring, if there's an issue with the fuse holder. Doesn't cover any of those things. It's strictly for workmanship issues. So anything that's not related to workmanship will be done under the rates of the workmanship terms and conditions, which if you guys don't have, I can share with you guys in the email when I send out these notes. But it's provided during the IGA. Yes.
John, rough numbers, how many lights have you guys managed the installation of?
In the history of real term?
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of lights. Myself personally, I've done at least 15,000 in Maine and in Massachusetts and New York. I can't even speak to the amount of projects I've done in Canada. Well over 200,000 lights at this point.
What are the top one or two failure components?
Depending, it could be in this case we don't have photo cells, but it could be a bad photo cell. That's not that can happen, and sometimes just the wiring inside of the light and fixtures is just kind of fails. But luckily with LEDs, they don't have a very high failure rate. They're very, very durable. So on a project like this, we shouldn't really expect to see much at first at all. Obviously, as the years go on, there'll be normal upkeep, but for the most part, you should be pretty confident that when the installations are done, you're going to have, a very nice streetlight system and very durable.
So I know so the LED light itself, 100,000 hours of projected useful life, or MTBF, if you will. But it's the electronics ahead of that only have half the useful life, and I'm trying to sort out what those are. Are they the controls and smart controls, Or are there other electronics in that stack that I'm not aware of?
No, I mean, the smart controllers in Adira, I don't know if you know off the top of your head, we have a 10-year warranty on these, right? Or is it only 5?
Yeah, most of these have 10-year warranty usually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure of any things that have half the life of the fixtures. For the most part, everything, they stand by for 10 years. So there shouldn't be many issues at all, guys.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Like I said, the workmanship warranty start and end date will be confirmed in writing at the end of the installation, but it'll start the last day of the installs. And that is pretty much it, everyone. What I like to ask, just to make sure, is there any locations that you know of off the top of your head that are going to need traffic control? Whether they're blind corners, anything you could think of like that maybe I could note down for Hedstrom?
Well, I think definitely, I haven't looked at specific lights, but given the hills and corners on Spruce Head Island Road, which is 73, kind of from the village area down to Spruce Head, there's some places there where you're going to need that. I mean, if you come over the hill and there's a truck in the road, there's someone coming the other way. It's, I can think of one place in particular. I don't know if there's a light there or not, though. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I would look at the stretch of 73 from the gig to Spruce Head Island Road. I mean Island Road. I think it's called Spruce Head Road at 73.
Okay.
And that's a higher speed area. 73 above the village tends to be more wide open and flatter, I think.
Okay. All right. I'll note that. I mean, they have all the, traffic control devices on their trucks and everything, but it's always good to know.
Yeah.
And
certainly the highest speed area would be 131 over from the Thomaston line to the St. George line. That's pretty good sight lines in general, but that's definitely the highest speed area around in town.
Okay. And I don't think it matters on a project of this size because it's gonna, they're gonna go through it so quickly. But is there any location in town that you want installed first? Is there any particular area, or you guys don't mind?
If you're going to do this in 2 to 3 days, I don't think it much matters.
I agree. I don't think that matters.
Okay. So Owen, I know you've been.
Well, and just
notes.
very briefly for the board and for John, I was holding off on touching base with Hedstrom, knowing that they were working in other municipalities. As soon as that makes sense and we're getting closer to actual install date and I touch base with them, I'll have a standing invitation to ride around with contractors doing it and just do, a drive-by of all the installation areas, generally discuss speed limits, sight lines, and provide any guidance I can.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to maybe we'll even set up a quick call. At another point when we get closer to the installs with Hedstrom, with Mike, and we can go over some things, and if they want to get together, and we can figure all that out. But if there's any questions, Owen, that you took during this meeting that need to be asked to Hedstrom, please send those along, and we'll get those answered for you.
Yeah, I have some notes. They're mostly operational, small things that I'm sure can be cleared up or answered really quickly with you and Hedstrom. I was just going to ask them offline.
Okay. All right. So,
John,
yes.
how long have you been with the company?
I've been with the company for a year and a half now, and before this, I was an estimator for a utility company, and then before that I was a project coordinator for another company. We went around and did inspections on utility companies' distribution and transmission systems and infrared scanning, and we did some streetlight audits as well, and some joint use collection too. So
what did this checklist look like 2 years ago?
Not this long.
Yeah, I compliment you guys. It's very well done. And one thing it does is pretty much demonstrate that this is not the first time you guys will be doing this. And as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, that you've probably done more than a few. So
Yeah, we keep on adding different sections and things to cover, you know, to make sure that, because I mean, it's extremely important, obviously, to have your feedback and to make sure we're all on the same page, because that's really what makes a successful project, you know, is all of us kind of, you know, being on the same page or working towards the same goal. So these meetings are extremely helpful to get to that. But if that is all, and, you know, obviously any questions you guys have, please ask them. I'll work on just getting these notes cleaned up a little bit. I'll send them out. I want to thank all you guys for taking the time to be on the call this morning. I know time is valuable, so I appreciate you guys taking the time. And if no one has anything else, we'll be in touch.
Nope, nothing for me.
All
I'm all
right.
set.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thanks a lot.